Greetings, old school magic players, and welcome to the Four Horsemen. Greetings, old school magic players, and welcome to a Thursday night with the Four Horsemen. I'm the Chadster, and I'm joined here tonight by my friend John Uckleberry. John, are you with us?
Here we are again.
Here we are again. It's midnight on a Thursday night. It's 1 a.m. for John's time, but we're off work tomorrow, and we're doing old school magic with our spare time. We're going to be covering some tournament number 12 quarterfinals tonight. Tournament number 12 ran from February 22nd to March 24th. Got some great prizes. Check us out at fourhorsemenmagic.com for details. Tournament 12 ran for 4 weeks. This ran in the early spring. First couple weeks were group matches and quarterfinals, semifinals through March 16th, with the finals happening March 17th through the 24th. Quick plug for tournament number 13. Lucky 13. Our 13th tournament is coming up March 29th, starting tomorrow, actually, Friday. Running through the 28th. You can check out the details at fourhorsemenmagic.com. Go to tournaments and click on tournament 13. We have a updated banner restricted for this tournament. Some great free prizes. We've also got our Facebook group. Join us at facebook.com/group/fourhorsemenmtg. This tournament number 13 will also run over 4 weeks. The first couple weeks will be group matches with quarterfinals in week 3 and semifinals and finals in week 4. Check us out at fourhorsemenmagic.com. Also, join us on Thursday nights. We do old school magic meetups every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, hosted by John and Peter. If you want to join us for some games, we'd love to have you. All right, John. Tournament number 12 quarterfinals. We've got a couple of very interesting decks here. Let's take a look at the brackets real quick. This is the top 8 or 9 folks that played in their group matches, and we had some killer decks. Some people were undefeated. It was a really interesting group match battle, and that's led us to the top 8, and we're going to have 4 quarterfinals matches. And in the video today, we're going to start with Barry Norrendale versus Jonathan King. John, we've got Living Control Valley versus Armageddon Clock Valley. Little overlap between these two decks, yeah?
Yeah, there is definitely some crossover in the card choices here.
Yeah, and there's some unique stuff too. Like, no one's ever played Armageddon Clock before, which is that's Jonathan King's deck. Living Plane has been played a lot in the last couple tournaments. It's a very powerful enchant world, but the use of Old Man of the Sea, Preacher, and Rabinia, and things like Diamond Valley. You play Living Plane, and you can steal their creatures with all these guys. Some really cool decks here. Let's get into the deck details. Let's start with Barry's deck. John, Barry's deck is running some really cool green and blue and white combos. He's got the mandatory 4 mana drains, the 3 divine offerings, 3 living planes, couple tabernacles, couple of candelabras, Urnums, Serendibs, Sinbad, Sylvans, and then all the control creatures: Old Man of the Sea, Preachers, Rabinia. And he's got some very, very cool tech lands between the 3 Diamond Valleys and the really cool City of Shadows, which no one's really run those before. Bunch of dual lands and a few basic lands. What do you think about this deck, John?
I like it. It's interesting. It's kind of doing two different things. Like, he's got the Living Plains combo built in, but he also has this whole steal and sack strategy going on. And he's leaning in pretty hard on it, with triple Old Man, triple Preacher, and triple Rubinia. So he's really looking to take anything that the opponent plays, and then he can just sack it to either Diamond Valley or City of Shadows, and then rinse, wash, repeat until they don't have anything left.
Yeah. I just want to take a look at City of Shadows real quick. I'm going to pull it up. Well, we've got Armageddon Clock up here, so let's look at Armageddon Clock, and then we'll talk about City of Shadows. Armageddon Clock is a 6 casting artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a Doom counter on Armageddon Clock.
Doom counter.
A Doom counter. At the beginning of your draw step, Armageddon Clock deals damage equal to the number of counters on it to each player. So it's going to get counters each upkeep, and then it's going to deal damage to everybody equal to that, counter count. The caveat is you can pay 4 and remove a Doom counter from Armageddon Clock. Any player may activate this ability during any upkeep. This is a really curious card. It's not been played in Four Horsemen at all in any of the decks ever. I can assure you that, and it's the first time we've seen it. What do you think is going on with the Armageddon Clock here, John?
I don't know. It's also a one of in his deck, so like it's not like his only strategy. But I guess maybe he just felt like the deck needed a bit of reach. It's kind of like a really big copper tablet. I think it'd be stronger if it did not have the clause that allowed people to remove counters from it.
Yeah.
But it is kind of interesting. I smiled when I saw it.
Yeah.
I definitely am happy to see cards played that otherwise haven't shown up yet. And it's kind of neat. It's kind of cool.
Okay, so the next card we want to look at is City of Shadows. Really cool card from the dark that doesn't see play very often. City of Shadows, tap, exile a creature you control. Put a storage counter on City of Shadows. Tap, add colorless mana for each storage counter on City of Shadows. This card is really interesting with what Barry has going on with all those control creatures, because he can...
Well, right, because that card on its own seems kind of bad, but like if you can build a combo around it, he can steal their stuff and sack it, and then suddenly he has this land that, adds an increasing amount of mana. It's not really like any X spells to spend it on in this format, but he can use it for, to activate the Taunos' Coffin or play a Coffin, or I guess, just help power out some extra creatures or something like that. He doesn't have a huge use for a large amount of colorless mana, though. Really, it's mostly just there to facilitate the sacking strategy. That being the case, I don't know. Diamond Valley is maybe better because you get the life, but Diamond Valley will never add mana. So it's definitely a bit of a balancing act there. It's funny, City of Shadows doesn't add any mana either until you sacrifice something to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't start by adding any at all. You have to sacrifice something to get it going.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because he's really doubling down on the strategy. There's 3 Diamond Valleys and 2 City of Solitude. So he's got 5 land options for these 9 creatures: the Rubinia Soul Singer, the Preacher, and the Old Man of the Sea. It's a really cool deck. If you really step back and look at it, it's super cool deck. I mean, he's got a drawing engine with Sinbad and Sylvan Library. He's got beefy creatures like Urnums and Serendibs. He's got 9 ways to steal your creatures between the Old Man, the Preacher, and the Rubinia, and then all the utility lands to between Diamond Valley and City of Shadows. And he's got the Candelabra Taunos. Like, he could potentially Diamond Valley twice in one turn, or City of Shadows twice in one turn with that Candelabra.
Yes.
That's super powerful. Let's take a look at his sideboard. The upside down cards are his sideboard. 2 Taunos Coffin, 4 Angry Mob, a couple of Lifeblood, 4 Whirling Dervish, a Felden's Cane, and 1 Serendib and 1 Urnum to finish out the 3 ofs that he has in the deck. What do you think about this sideboard?
He has 8 anti-black cards, and black is not really a color that's seeing a ton of play in Four Horsemen right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bit curious.
Yeah.
I just think those angry mobs are just never going to come in against anything. The Dervish, I guess, is okay because it's still good against the Abyss, and it's still, it grows on its own if it attacks every turn. But yeah, I don't know. I like some of the other stuff. I mean, I think the coffins are probably the best thing in his sideboard. I like those quite a bit. I don't even remember what Lifeblood or Life Tap or whatever that card is.
Yeah, let's check out Lifeblood. So that's another card we should look into, because that is not a card that sees play very often. Lifeblood. Okay, so this is an enchantment from Legends. 2 white, 2 colorless. Whenever a mountain an opponent controls becomes tapped, you gain 1 life. So anything that's running red, every time they tap a mountain, he's going to gain a life for that. That's pretty good.
Anti-red card, that's good.
Yeah. So if we go back to the deck, I don't know about the Angry Mobs. I don't think that that's a great choice. The Lifeblood's very interesting. The Whirling Dervish are also very good against control decks. They're not just good against black and they're immune to Abyss, but if you can drop a second turn Dervish and they're playing like the slow control deck, the Dervish are going to get bigger each time they damage you. So, I mean, I guess I could see how the Dervish would be an option, but frankly, when you're running white and blue and green, I would want to exploit the best cards in white, blue, and green, and I don't think Dervish and Angry Mob are it. Frankly, I would be running, he's running blue, and red's a big deal, so I would be running 4 Flash Floods instead of those 4 Angry Mobs. I would get rid of those Angry Mobs. Those are no good. 1 blue to destroy a red permanent. You can kill Blood Moon with it. You can kill a Rook token with it. You can kill any red creature with it. I would instantly change the sideboard and ditch those Angry Mobs and put those Flash Floods in there.
For sure.
The other thing that I think he could be running is he's not running Remove Soul at all. And Remove Soul is so good. I would say he should probably ditch those 4 Whirling Dervish and put Remove Soul in there in case he needs to, combat a deck that's got Triskelions or Tetravis or Juzum Gens or something. He can't steal them with the Old Man of the Sea and Preacher. His opponent's choice. So I think he needs something to deal with bigger creatures. Rubinia helps, and he's got a 3 of Rubinia, but I just think that those Dervish are not strong enough in that sideboard. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Flash Flood's an important card in this format. There's a lot out there.
Yeah.
And if you're playing blue, you really... It's like an auto-include in your board if you're playing blue.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I think you're right about the Triskelion, too. Triskelion could be a real threat to this. It can just pick off the Preachers.
Yeah.
It can't be stolen by Old Man because it's too big.
Yeah.
It can also just kill Old Man.
It can kill Rubinia, too, with the 3 counters.
And it can kill Rubinia. It can kill all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's something that he should have maybe... He does have 3 main deck Divine Offerings, and he does have, Mana Drain, so it's not like he has nothing against it, but his sideboard does seem a little bit weak to me.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at Jonathan King's Armageddon Clock Valley deck. John, what do you think about this deck?
Well, this deck, as we mentioned, has a little bit of crossover with some of the same cards Barry's playing, but interestingly, he's only playing like one of a whole bunch of different cards, just a whole bunch of kind of silver bullets to try to spread his strategy out, I guess. There's just one preacher,
Mm-hmm.
One
archaeologist, one spirit link, one boomerang.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's just all over the place. But this strikes me as a deck that there's probably no proxies in this deck.
Yeah.
That's probably all cards he owns.
Yes.
And he just wanted to build something out of what he owns, and
yes.
I can totally respect that. I've done that in a few of our tournaments.
Yes, I respect that too. And we've had a lot of players do that where they're like, look, we're glad that you allow proxies, but I want to play with the real cards, and we respect that. And people play with the cards that they own. And he does have one proxy in the Mishra's Workshop, but everything else here obviously is real and it's his own cards.
Yeah. It's still interesting though, because all these little strategies are fairly cohesive. He still has a pretty clear strategy going on. So I don't know. It's and I think his sideboard is better than Barry's, only if by virtue of just playing a whole bunch of cards that are good enough to be main board cards.
Yeah.
Look at what he's got in there.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of good stuff.
Yeah, his sideboard's really impressive. I mean, a couple pyrotechnics. That card is crazy good. One Fisher to get rid of any land or creature. The Falling Stars is a fucking phenomenal card. Couple extra divine offerings, a spirit link, Army of Allah, which is like, wow, where is that one coming from? 2 unstables, 2 flash floods, the Island of Whack, and a Felden's Cane and a Shatterstorm. He has so much utility and variety in this sideboard. He can accommodate almost anything with that sideboard.
I think the Army of Allah is pretty interesting against an opposing Living Plains deck, because potentially they could drop their Living Plains, and then you could swing back with all your lands and then pump them all with Army of Allah. And
Army of Allah. Yeah, that's right. That's really smart. You're right. It's a total Living Plains answer. You're like, all right, I'll take your damage from your planes, your 5 or 6 lands. I'll attack with my 8 lands and Army of Allah.
Game over.
That's great. All right, John. Well, let's get into this match. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so let's queue up the YouTube video. Let me transition over on my side. And on the count of 3, John, you ready?
I'm ready.
1, 2, 3. All right, we're playing this at 1.75x of the original speed. You've got Barry Norndale on the right and Jonathan King on the left. And John, you were recording this match, but I don't think you were watching it, right? You recorded it and stepped away?
Well, unfortunately, when I turn the YouTube video on, it disconnects my audio from whereby it takes over. The YouTube audio takes over.
Oh no, you can't mute it?
I don't think so. Oh yeah, I don't need the audio, do I? I wonder if I can just mute it. Let me try that.
Well, the other thing I can do is I can share it through whereby if we need to do that.
Let me see if I can just mute it. There's got to be a way to do that, right? Yeah, we for the viewers, we've had a little technical difficulties tonight. I don't have any internet, and so I'm doing this all on my phone. I'm trying to toggle between various things. How do I make this?
Well, John, why don't we just I'll just share it through whereby.
Just share it through whereby, and I'll be able to see it in the whereby.
Yeah. Let's just do that.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as your system doesn't also go down.
No, it won't. I mean, I hope not.
You're plugged in, so you should be all right.
I'm on my Ethernet, so. All right, so I'm gonna just. Can you jump back to the whereby and?
I'm in. Yeah, I'm there now.
All right. So here we go. It might have a little lag for you.
That's okay.
Yeah. All right, so Jonathan King. Jonathan's got that really cool what is that playmat with the castles? What is that? He's got the ATOG in the foreground. What is that card that has that art with a castle? Do you know, John?
I'm not sure. I cannot see your screen currently.
Oh, in the whereby?
In the whereby.
Oh, okay. 1 second. Okay, I'm sharing the YouTube video in the whereby.
Yeah, it's funny. It just is a big blank box that says screen share, but it doesn't have in it.
Don't tell me that.
Lame. How are we gonna make this work? Well, whatever. Just play it, and I'll see if I can figure it out while we're talking about it.
Okay, so Jonathan is doing his 3 piles. It looks like Barry is thinking about what he wants to do here. I guess they're both going to keep. And I think Jonathan took a mulligan. Yeah, so Jonathan has mulliganed, puts one on the bottom. And who's on the play here? Jonathan's on the play with a first turn Mistress Factory. That's a good first turn. Barry drops a Savannah and plays a first turn Candelabra. All right, so Jonathan attacks with the factory, hits in for 2. Barry's at 18. And Barry drops an island. Passes turn. Jonathan drops another volcanic. So he's got 2 volcanics and a factory. He attacks with that factory. Man, that first turn factory, John, is killer. Barry is up, plays a Tundra, and plays a second Candelabra. So Barry's got a Savannah, an island, and a Tundra with 2 Candelabras. Jonathan's turn, he drops a Tundra, and he attacks with the factory for the 3rd time. So Barry is quickly down to 14, having taken 6. And Barry is up. Barry drops a Diamond Valley and passes with 4 cards. And Jonathan is up. I mean, this factory is just doing the work. He's just getting in there every turn. He's attacking with the factory again. Oh, he's hit for 8. And Barry's down to 12. It's brutal with the first turn factory. Okay, Barry gets to 4 mana plus the Diamond Valley. He's got a couple of Savannahs, an island, and a Tundra, and passes. Man, Barry's got nothing here. Jonathan King attacks in with the factory for the 5th time, hits for 2 more, and Barry is down to 10. Okay. Barry drops a forest. He's got 5 mana now. Can Barry do anything? He plays a Sinbad. Not the best card. He really needs like Rubinia. Rubinia would be great here. Even Old Man of the Sea would be better than Sinbad. Sinbad's like the worst of his creatures that he wants here. Jonathan is up, and he's got a couple of volcanics in his factory and Tundra. He's thinking about what to do. It's 20 to 10. Barry's
all right, Chad, what time code are you in the video right now?
Oh, I'm at, let me pause here. I'm at 7:30.
All right, give me 1 second here. 7:30.
Oh, you queuing it up on the YouTube there?
Well, so what I did is I slaved my iPad to my phone, so now they're both on cellular, and I'm gonna watch the video on my iPad while I do the other thing on my phone. Okay, so I'm watching the video now.
So I can stop sharing the video on Whereby then. That'll help with the bandwidth. All right, so we're at 7:30, and we'll play on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Good.
All right. So Barry is blocking with his Sinbad, and then he's Diamond Valleying it to gain a life. Barry's in a real dire straits scenario here. That first turn factory is just wrecking him. And Jonathan plays Felwerstone, and it gets mana drained by Barry, so Barry's got a couple extra mana. Alright. Barry drops Rubinia Soul Singer. He finally gets a creature in play on turn 8 here, but he's lost so much life. And let's see what Jonathan's going to do here. Jonathan can no longer freely attack with the factory because Rubinia is a 2/3, so he's going to need to figure out how to deal with Rubinia.
She's pretty good. She's a good roadblock here. You know, we've seen so many games. Well, there's an answer for her. Chain Lightning.
Oh my God, the Chain Lightning. So he Diamond Valleys in response, gains 3. He'll go from 11 to 14. No, he should go to 14, not 12. What just happened there? Oh, she's a 3, so he should gain 3 life, not 1 life. I don't know. He should be at 14, not 12 life. That's weird. Oh, he plays another Rubinia. Look at that.
Yeah, it just replaces it, which is cool. Ooh, Boomerang. Okay, well, that's a temporary answer anyway.
All right, and so now Jonathan can get in with the factory and the flying man for 3. Oof, bringing Barry down to 9. Ouch. But actually, Barry should be at 11 because he should have gained 3 from that original Rubinia. Oh my gosh, so Rubinia comes back for the 3rd time.
So, yeah, I don't know. Oh, another Chain Lightning for another Rubinia.
Oh man, that's so rough. And the Diamond Valley taps, and he gains 3 for that one. But he should technically be at 14, not 12. So Jonathan gets in for 1 with the Flying Man, bringing Barry to 11. And now Barry plays the Old Man of the Sea. Ugh, and it gets mana drained.
It gets mana drained.
Brutal, 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 brutal. Oh, and then he plays another Old Man in response. How about that? Wow, that's great. And
there's a lot of back and forth here. I like it.
Yeah, and he plays the Tabernacle of Pindrel Vale. Okay, so Jonathan King's got 3 mana from the mana drain, and he plays a Tawnos Coffin, and he puts the Old Man in the coffin. Ugh, that's rough. Oh, but Barry can Diamond Valley in response, but he elects not to.
I think he'd rather just have that coffin stuck tapped so that he can play something else. Because otherwise, if he sacked it, he'd just have the coffin sitting there for the next thing that Barry played, you know?
Right. Okay, so here comes Jonathan attacking with the factory.
It's completely insane how, even though factory is a singleton, it's still in so many games will pull its weight and do 10 damage, you know, or
it's more. It's a game winner. It's crazy how powerful that fucking card is. Okay, so he drops an extra Flying Man. Yeah, it's really crazy. Oh, he's untapping the no, he's not. He's keeping
it. He thought about it, and then he was like, oh yeah, there's something under that still.
It's an Old Man. All right, so he's got 2 Flying Man and the factory coming in on the attack. Ouch, ouch, ouch. That's 4 damage. Ugh, poor Barry's down to 5. And now he plays his 4th Rubinia. No, the 3rd Rubinia.
3rd Rubinia,
yeah. So Jonathan, is he going to untap that coffin? No, he does not.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the Old Man takes the same things that Rubinia does, although had he untapped it and then stolen Rubinia, both the Old Man and Rubinia would have summoning sickness and wouldn't be able to take anything.
Yeah, so Jonathan gets through for 2 more damage, bringing Barry to 3. And now Barry plays a Serendipity. He's not worried about the damage because he's got the Diamond Valley. And he's got the Rubinia. And Jonathan has to pay the 2 upkeep from the Tabernacle Pendril Veil to keep his Flying Men in play. And he taps those 2 Volcanics down for it. What will Jonathan do here?
Well, it's starting to get sketchy because now he can't really get in for any damage.
Yeah, Barry's at 3 life. Is he finally starting to stabilize at 3? It's pretty rough. Oh, he comes in with the 2 flyers. All right, so he takes control of one of them and he blocks, and they both die. Or he could block with the Serendip. Either way. Yeah, so he blocks. He takes control of one and he blocks with the Serendip. Okay, and then Jonathan is spirit linking that one flyer. And Barry munches the Serendip to the Diamond Valley, gaining 4 life, bringing him from 3 to 7.
Diamond Valley is just such a workhorse, especially in these decks that have a bunch of X4s. You know, it's crazy how long you can stay alive.
Yes, Diamond Valley is just an unbelievable card. Okay, there's the City of Shadows coming in.
So this has got to be a little bit frustrating for John because I feel like he was in a really dominant position this game, and suddenly we've turned a corner. And Barry stabilized at like 3 life, and now he's climbing out of the hole.
He is. That Diamond Valley in the Rubinias and being able to sack that Serendipity and gain that 4 life and bring him from 3 back to 8 is a big deal.
Most definitely.
Okay, so Jonathan's drawing here. Jonathan's got 7 cards, so now he's got 8 cards. He's got to play something. Okay, he just passes with 7. And Barry plays the land and passes as well. Is Barry? So Barry's paying the upkeep on his Tabernacle with that Savannah over there. Oh, there's that one-off Wall of Heat that Jonathan is discarding. It's land go. It's land go here. That's real old school.
I think you see a lot of this when there's 4 manager hands available in the format.
Yeah. Okay. So Barry drops the Serendipity. And Jonathan is reading the coffin.
I think he's trying to recall if the things come back tapped or where they're actually at, if they're in the exile zone or if they're, somewhere else, if they're phased out or whatever. Because a lot of these old cards, they've errated them in strange and interesting ways. Okay, so now I guess that Serendip is going to start putting in some work.
Yeah, so the Serendip attacks, and Jonathan takes first blood while having, at one point, Barry down to 3. He's back to 7 now. Jonathan goes to 17. Can Barry pull this off, John?
With that Diamond Valley out there, I think he can. Because I think he can stay alive for quite a while. And it'll give him time to, beat in with that Serendip.
Jonathan discards a Serendipity here.
Yeah, I don't think it's that good for him. I mean, he could play it, I guess, but then he'd just be taking a damage every turn. I don't know. He's at a lot more life than Barry.
Look at this. So with the Sylvan Library, Barry draws into an Urnam Gen and plays it.
Oh, here's the other thing, though. The reason he discarded it is if he played it, Barry would just take it with Rubinia.
Oh, yes, with Rubinia. You're right.
But he really can't play anything, which has him in like a really awful and awkward spot.
So Jonathan takes some damage from the Serendib. He's down to 14 now. And he's got an Urnum. He's staring down an Urnum Gen now as well.
Yeah, this game is like turned way around.
It's like done a 180. Like Jonathan was in command and control. Like seriously, like I thought Jonathan was just going to completely win this game. And Barry stabilized at 3 life, and he's completely turned it around, all thanks to Diamond Valley and the control creatures like Rubinia. Hats off to Barry for that. Like, you know, turning a game around when you're at 3 life is a big deal. Okay, Preacher comes in.
Well, it's definitely tough in Old School, especially against a opposing red deck, because they could just draw a Chain Lightning and knock you out of the game. But
Jonathan mana drains the Preacher. He cannot handle the Rubinia and the Preacher. And meanwhile, Barry attacks with the Serendib and the Urnum, hitting in for 7. Bringing Jonathan down to 7. Now it's a 7-5 game. Holy crap. Wow, what a turnaround. Jonathan's really going in the tank here thinking. He's like, how can I turn this game around? He's like, am I dead here? Am I dead? Is there anything I can do?
How did this happen to me? Preacher of his own, which, I mean, it's just gonna get stolen.
It's gonna get stolen.
I don't even... I mean, he just didn't have another play, I'm sure, but I don't know. I think the game's locked up.
Yeah, I think Barry is in such command and control here that... Okay, and he plays a Sage of Latinam.
That's a cool card.
What he really needs here is a juxtapose. You know?
That card's sweet. I think we're gonna see a couple decks that try to run it coming up here.
Yeah, definitely. All right, John, take over the commentary. I'm gonna step away to grab another beer. I'll be right back.
Do it. All right, so John is populating his board with some creatures now, or at least trying to, but Barry is thwarting him with both his ability to steal and his mana drain. He mana drained the Serendib and he stole the Preacher. It's rough. And then he'll be able to use that Preacher that he stole to steal the remaining creature, the Sage of Latinam. So I don't know. It's kind of silly. Although he just eats it with City of Shadows instead, so that he can just reuse Rubinia instead to steal another guy. I mean, it's just Barry's really got his engine going, and I just don't really see a way for John to win this game, unfortunately. I'm not really sure what Barry's thinking about here, other than just trying to figure out how he's going to kill him. But he's got Urnum and Serendib. I mean, just attack, my man. Just attack.
Okay, John, I'm back.
Hello, hello.
You know, you come back and you look at this and like, holy shit, look at all those cards on Barry's board. It's like, wow, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's plus he's playing kind of like grid style or whatever, where like all the cards are spread out, so it really looks like he's got a lot of stuff.
Oh wow, he drops living plane.
In the end game now. There's the scoop.
There's the living plane, and there's the attack, and there's the scoop. Yeah, wow. Hats off to Barry. Holy shit. He took the beat down. I think he took like 16, 14 damage from that first turn factory. Went all the way down to 3 life, stabilized, came back to just like crush with Rabinia, Diamond Valley, Urnham Jin, Serendib Efreet. Wow. What a game that was, right, John?
It was pretty sweet.
Man. All right. So while they're shuffling up here, let's take a look at the deck pictures. If we're sideboarding here and you're thinking about, so Barry won, if you look at Barry's sideboard, I think Barry needs to sideboard almost nothing. Is there anything in his deck that is bad versus Jonathan? Maybe those divine offerings. He didn't see any artifacts, so he might sideboard out a couple of divine offerings and put in the extra Serendib and Urnham.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's about it. On Jonathan's sideboard, what cards does Jonathan have that are dead? Well, that Armageddon clock probably needs to go. I don't think that the Thomas Coffin is particularly strong. And the Preacher and the Archaeologist can get stolen very easily. So I would get rid of the Coffin, the clock, the Archaeologist, and the Preacher. That's 4 right there. And I think what would I put in? I'd put in that Fisher. I'd definitely put in that Falling Star. Holy crap, that Falling Star could be good. And I put in those 2 Pyrotechnics. I think that's what I would sideboard in here. All right. Let's get back to the match. These guys are shuffling up. Here we go. Oh, are they still sideboarding here? They are still sideboarding. John, what do you think? What do you think about the...
Yeah, I don't think Barry changes his deck at all, and I don't know.
What do you think about Jonathan's deck since he lost? I mean, in his sideboard he's got 1 Fisher, 1 Falling Star. He's got a couple Pyrotechnics. He's got the Island of Whack Whack, the Feldman's Cane, the Shatterstorm. He's got 2 Unstables, 2 Flash Floods, 2 Divine Offerings, a Spirit Link Army Allah. I think those red cards across the top there, Fisher, Falling Star, and 2 Pyrotechnics are very good against...
Sure. All those come in, because he wants to be able to kill off the, Barry's guys that steal stuff.
Right. Yes, he needs to get those Pyrotechnics in. He needs to get that Fisher in. He needs to get the Falling Star in. So, yeah, I would sideboard out that Archaeologist and the Preacher, because they're going to get stolen. I would sideboard out the Armageddon clock, and I would sideboard out that Wall of Heat. That card is useless in this matchup. That's 4 cards right there, and he can put in the Fisher, Falling Star, and those double Pyrotechnics and call it a day. Alright, are these guys ready yet? Wow, they're taking their time on this sideboarding. Holy crap. We're playing at 1.75x, and they're still thinking.
My guess is they had a long conversation, probably not even about their sideboards, but they do finally get to it. There's another hand drawn for the blue sleeves.
Yeah, you don't see blue sleeves very often. Those are kind of unique.
Yeah, they look cool. Okay, so we've got a flying man for John and trap for Barry.
Is that Ivory Tower for Jonathan?
Let me see.
Am I ahead of you?
I had to reset my video. What time are you at right now?
I'm at 42:58.
42:58. Okay. So I just see the flying man out there. Oh, that is an ivory tower over there to the side, yeah.
Yeah. So Jonathan drops Ivy Tower on turn 2. But he's not gaining life because he's below the 4. He must be at 4 land count. Oh, or does he gain life? Nope. He hits him with the flying man and passes to Barry. Barry plays the plains and plays Preacher. Now he can steal that flying man. All right. Jonathan hits in with the flying man for 1, bringing Barry to 17. Barry drops his second tropical island and passes.
So, why hasn't he stolen the flying man with the preacher yet?
I think he's waiting. He had summoning sickness in the last turn. Now he can do it. He can do it before he attacks.
Okay.
Yeah. Now he's got it. Oh, and the chain lightning on the preacher. Does Barry have a mana drain? He does. He mana drains that chain lightning. And passes. Wow. Okay, so Barry's doing really good here. He's got his 5th land going on. And he plays an Rabinia with the 5 lands. Red, green, blue, and white. So now he's got Rabinia and Preacher. That's pretty fucking solid right there. You know what Jonathan needs here is Falling Star, right?
Yeah, Falling Star would be really good. I mean, he could potentially kill everything but the Serendip over there, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so Diamond Valley hits the board. Wow. That is the second game that Barry has had the Diamond Valley, but it's not restricted at this time, so he's got 3 of them. It's not that uncommon he would get one. And he plays 3 and plays the Serendip, and he attacks with Rubinia for 2 damage. How about that?
Rubbing salt in the wound.
Looks like Barry's really taking control of this game. Okay, so Jonathan... By the way, Jonathan's got one of your islands over there, John. You see that? All right, so Barry Preachers the Flying Man, and then Diamond Valley's it, and then now it's his turn. And now he's got a Preacher, Serendip, and a Rabinia. It's not looking good for Jonathan here. An Old Man of the Sea comes in on Barry's side, and Barry attacks with Rabinia 2/3, the Preacher 1/1, and the Serendip 3/4. Jonathan mazes the Serendip, and Barry gets in for 2 and 1. He gets in for 3 with the Rabinia and the Preacher. Jonathan's in a real pickle here. This is rough. Okay, so he plays Tano's Coffin. Oh. And right away Barry Divine Offerings and gains 4 life. Holy shit. Oh my god. Barry's just crushing this game. Oh, and he plays Living Plane. And he attacks with Rubinia and the Old Man of the Sea, holding back the Preacher and the Serendib. Jonathan looks like he's blocking with his lands.
Yeah, it's a little bit desperate.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a real tough situation for Jonathan here. Barry's deck has really come out full-fledged here. Jonathan's never been able to gain any life off the Ivory Tower this entire game because he had to keep playing out cards.
Yeah, that's it's kind of a conundrum, right? It is a very powerful one of, but at the same time, it can be totally useless.
All right, so we're 20-10. Barry is ahead by 10. What's he doing? He's picking up the Rubinia and reading it. I don't know what he's doing there. He's reading Rubinia. There must be some kind of discussion going on. Let me turn the volume on here.
For land, but I gain control of the permanent. You know what I'm saying? I guess like I guess control magic's different because it says control enchant creature, but like I'm just gaining control of target creature. That satisfies the target. Yeah, at the beginning when you're gaining control. If I untap it, then I just want to be able to take control of it again. That.
They're talking about like the gaining control. John, you still with me?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, so Strip Mine comes down. Look at that. And he's stripping the Diamond Valley. Oh, stripping the Diamond Valley. Why did Maze of Ith go to the graveyard there? That's weird. Well, that's timely, the Strip Mine on the Diamond Valley, but it's almost too little too late. Because Barry's got so many creatures. He's got Living Plane, he's got Old Man, he's got Rubinia, he's got Preacher. He can just take control of all of Jonathan's lands here, basically. Man, even at 1.75, this game is dragging out quite a bit. Okay, so Barry's tapping 4. What's he tapping 4 mana for? 2 white, a blue, and a green. What is he tapping those for? I don't know. Okay, so he's leaving the Old Man tapped, keeping control of the land, untapping. Okay, so he's keeping control of those 2 lands with the Preacher and the Old Man. He's got the Serendib and the Rubinia, and he can attack. He can attack with Rubinia. Oh, interesting. Boomerang. Did you see this, John? All right. So the boomerang, he boomerangs the Living Plane and ends up playing it again. All right, so Jonathan plays Diamond Valley himself and plays a Serendipity. Okay, so the living plane is back in play. So he's untapping Rubinia and taking a damage. And now he's playing. Now Barry's dropping Tana's Coffin. Okay, and Jonathan decides to scoop. All right, wow. So that was quite the match. Oh my goodness. In game 1, Barry was down to 3 life. He was almost dead, and he came back from the brink and managed to bring that game home. What a turnaround for Barry. Game 2, it felt like Barry was in control a lot of that game in game 2. But wow, what a great 2-0 win for Barry. That wraps up Tournament 12 quarterfinals. One of the first matches we've covered, playing Control Valley versus Armageddon Clock Valley. Barry emerges victorious with a 2-0 win. And that will bring us to conclusion. Don't forget to check us out for Tournament 13, March 29th through April 28th. Check us out at fourhorsemenmagic.com. Go to tournaments and Tournament 13. We'd love to see you there. And thank you for joining us tonight for Tournament 12 quarterfinals. We are signing off.